In the last 2 or 3 days, there's been a bit of a shift in the dollar. It seems like the dollar has stopped gaining its upwards momentum. If you look at the DXY index, that's the index that basically, it's like an index that compares the dollar to a whole basket of other currencies and commodities, etc., etc. So, if you look at the DXY index in the last month, you would see that the dollar has gained a lot of strength over the course of 3 to 4 weeks. And round about Wednesday-ish, there's been a bit of a turnaround. So the dollar has gone down quite a bit. And this pattern you see, especially if you look at the daily chart of the DXY, you'll see that this pattern is reflected in a lot of other places. So if you look at a lot of other currencies, obviously they are measured against the dollar, they would obviously show the same pattern. So looking at the other currencies, if you look at especially their daily charts, you'll see it's basically a flip of the DXY. You have to also keep in mind that there's 4 currencies that usually the charts are flipped. And that is your Australian dollar, your New Zealand dollar, your euro, and your British pound. They usually, when you compare them to the US dollar, the charts are actually flipped around. So if you look at the chart of, let's say, the euro, you'll see that the euro the chart will actually go down. Downward trend actually means it's bad for the euro, and the upward trend obviously means it's good for the euro. So this will be the same in obviously your Australian dollar, your New Zealand dollar, and your British pound. Downward trend is bad, upward trend is good. Lots of the other currencies that usually get shown in graphs, like typically your let's say your Brazilian real, your Chinese yuan, your Japanese yen, they're the opposite way around. So if the graph increases, it's bad for that currency. If it decreases, it's good for that currency. So just those 4 kind of currencies: the British pound, the euro, the Australian dollar, and the New Zealand dollar. They're usually the other way around. I have seen them where they flipped in other places, but most of the time when they do refer to them, they flipped around. And if you look at the daily fluctuations in the last day of most of the currencies, you'll see they're exactly the same. They follow the same pattern. Basically, they have actually recovered in the last day. They've actually improved quite a bit. In the indexes have actually followed a very, very, very similar trend. Obviously, as these currencies appreciate in value, they've actually gained in value. It's almost like they're a bit deflationary. Their stock markets obviously have also increased as well. So if you look at the bigger indexes like the Australia 200, the DE 40, the France 40, the UK 100, etc., etc., you'll see that they actually in the last day they followed exactly the same pattern. There's not a lot of changes. So most of the changes we see now in the last day or two actually purely had to do with the valuation of the dollar. It's created most of the swings that we see. Obviously, there's going to be some small changes inside these swings, which you're going to have to see if you can find. But generally, the bigger changes in the market is because of the US dollar. If we look at crypto, there's been a big increase in crypto. Crypto has really, really increased. It's been a really good day for crypto. With Bitcoin, at the moment, it's sitting on a daily increase of about 9%, which is insane. Ether is a 4%, Binance is a 3%, Cardano is 3%, Solana is 3%, Ripple is 3%, Polkadot is 5%, Avalanche is 5%, Polygon is 5%, Cosmos is 16%. So the crypto market is really, really spiking quite a lot today. That actually makes me believe the reason all these altcoins are gaining so much traction. I think a lot of the trading that happened today might possibly be retail traders. There might be a lot of institutional traders that's not trading. I don't know if it has possibly to do with the passing of Queen Elizabeth II. I think it was on Wednesday. No, it was yesterday. It was yesterday, Thursday. And obviously, Prince Charles now becoming king. So we're actually going to have a king of England. I don't know if there's maybe some slowdown in market volumes in a lot of the major indexes. It could be that that's maybe what is causing things to slow down a little bit, and why I think that the retail traders are actually at the moment driving markets. If we look at commodities has also been fairly stable. It's not a lot of change. We've seen the same pattern we've seen with the dollar obviously depreciating. The commodities have done sort of the opposite. The commodities have actually gained in value. So interesting charts I have found also, which might also be a change in what we're seeing now, is this is the electricity prices in European countries. So I've gotten electricity for Italy, for Spain. Spain is actually fairly flat, so it doesn't seem like Spain's really having too much fluctuation in its energy prices. It's sort of going up and down, but it has seen quite severe prices in the past. So the charts is obviously, the scale of the chart's not 100% accurate. But it doesn't seem like it's too far outside the norm. UK electricity prices have spiked, but they're coming down. Italy has spiked, but they're coming down. Germany has spiked, a lot of fluctuations, but it also looks like it's on a downward trend. France also spiked, but coming down. So it looks like the energy prices in Europe for now is under control. So that might also be one of the reasons why there's a lot of outflow of money out of the US and into the European stocks and into other stock markets, purely because it's basically safer now in Europe to invest if they manage to control electricity prices. Then the bonds have been fairly flat today. There's not a lot of change in the bonds over the world. I don't think I've actually seen one that actually had the Brazil bond actually is dropping quite a bit, which is a good thing. That means that there's obviously a lot of inflow of money into Brazilian bonds. China is slightly turning around. France also sort of reached a peak on its way down. Same with Germany. India it's got a bit of India's past its peak. It is on the way down, so India is sort of recovering. Italy's kind of flat, not too much there. Japan it looks like Japan is still increasing, but the Japanese bond yield is so low that I don't even think we can actually count that. I mean, their bond yield is at 0.25%, so they clearly don't have too much problems there. The South African bond yield is also dropping. It also looks like in South Africa we've reached a peak. So overall, it does look like the massive the massive cash flows that we've had into the US, where the whole world was sort of in a panic state, looks like that's sort of reversing to a certain degree. So another thing that also happened, obviously, Jerome Powell had another speech on Wednesday. He didn't really say much different. He pretty much said the same thing he said at Jackson Hole, so I don't know if that actually makes a difference to where exactly these cash flows are going. In obviously the US bond, we can also see that it looks like the US bond is also sort of running flat for a little bit. And that's basically our prices for today. So there's definitely a bit of a turnaround now in the world. What this can mean is that the dollar can be in a bit of danger. So there's going to be a lot of cash flows out of the US into other countries. Other than that, I think that's basically the wrap for today. If you like this content, remember to press the button. And if you want to subscribe, remember to push the button again. Until next time, this is Steve. Ciao.